Chris. Can you try your microphone one more time?
Mic check, mic check. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to leave it right there. So once Judge Hawkins issues his order, might be a conduit space.
Are you expecting this week?
The judge says, I'll get an order out really quickly. It could be anywhere from that afternoon to 3 months from now.
Well, that's what. It's funny because I was expecting that.
Because your recourse is nothing.
Yeah.
I anticipate even more. Yeah. It's just start in 1 minute.
Well, you have an answer.
My name is Chris Hawkins. I'm the town moderator. Welcome to the first deliberative session of the annual budgetary town meeting of the town of Newmarket. And our first order of business this morning is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. A couple of quick notes before we get to the substance of the meeting. On the table outside, there is a set of the moderator's rules of procedure. We're going to follow these rules, but I want to make it clear that the meeting belongs to you, the voters. I'm just here to maintain order and keep us moving along, hopefully in orderly fashion. But the voters can at any time raise a motion and overrule any ruling that I may make, or institute a different rule if you choose to do so. But barring any changes, these are the rules that we're going to follow. Another quick note on the warrant. You will notice that down from Article 11 through, I believe, Article 18, yes, those are the charter amendments. On the actual ballot on voting day, the charter amendments will be immediately after the election of officers for the coming year. So the sequence will be different on the actual ballot, but for purposes of today, the charter amendments are down towards the end. I just want to make that clear to everyone out there. Okay, so basically how this works is we go through the articles one at a time. I will read them so that folks who are watching and listening at home know what we're talking about. The articles are going to go on the ballot as presented unless there is an amendment from the floor, and of course you're always free to ask questions or make points about warrant articles as well. But really the question for today is whether they're amended or not. Certain warrant articles cannot be amended, like the charter amendment or warrant articles cannot be amended, but we'll deal with that as it comes. So, all that said, Article 1 is to choose the following officers for the upcoming year. There's nothing really for us to do there, but there's a number of positions that are going to be on the ballot in March for the upcoming year. Do we know the date? The 10th, March 10th will be voting day. So I'm going to proceed to read Article 2. Article 2, this is the Cushing Road and Lumberland Drive Stormwater Improvement Project. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,440,000 and no cents gross budget for the purpose of design, permitting, and construction of stormwater system improvements along a segment of Cushing Road and Lumberland Drive in accordance with state and federal water quality guidelines, referred to as the project. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $1.44 million in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, and to authorize the town council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon, and to take such actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town, and to further authorize the town to apply for, accept, and expend federal and state grants or from any other governmental unit or private source which may at any time become available to be applied toward the project or to reduce amounts to be repaid on such bonds or notes, and to participate in the state revolving fund established in RSA 48614 for this purpose. It is anticipated that the town will receive up to $216,000 in principal forgiveness from the state revolving fund loan program. If passed, it is estimated this article will have an 8-cent impact on the tax rate, and 2/3 vote will be required for approval. So the meeting is open for questions, comments, amendments on warrant article number 2. If anyone wishes to speak, please approach the microphone and state your name and address. Mr. Chase.
Good morning, Cliff Chase, 52 Elm Street. I'm curious about this, and I'm sorry I'm late to learning about this. I know that the council has been in discussion about this, I'm sure, for quite some time, and I'll speak up, sorry. So back in the early 90s, the coastal area, I think, may be part of the Moody Point open space. Maybe others can speak to this. My memory is not that clear that far back. But there was public access to the waterfront there. And I'm thinking that if the town is going to be providing more money for waterfront improvement related things, stormwater, that sort of thing, which I am very much in favor of, I'd like to have access. I'd like the public to have access to that waterfront. I was wondering if anyone could speak to that.
Does any member of the council want to speak to Mr. Chase's comments? I think did folks understand this question? Does someone want to respond or address Mr. Chase's comments?
You gotta get it both sides. If you want to speak.
You're not obliged to, but if you care to.
Joe Lamartine, I don't think that I'm qualified to talk about public access through that area. That was my only statement.
Am I allowed to speak?
So we're going to ask the town manager to respond. He is not a resident of the town, but typically in the past we've allowed the superintendent and the town manager to speak to items because they have the most information. So unless there's an objection, I'm going to have Mr. Fournier respond.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think it's two different issues. This is to redo the Stormwater Act, to improve the stormwater and drainage in that area. Public access to that would be a different project and we'd have to negotiate with the landowners in that area. So I understand your concern and we can discuss it with them to see if we can get more public access. But this is just stormwater and the pipes and the drainage in that area. Do you understand?
I do. But it's unfortunate and for the education of folks is initially that waterfront was publicly available, and then I don't recall the circumstances, but sometime in the mid-90s, it became posted that it was only for the use of residents and their guests. So I guess I would like to have that considered, but.
Okay. We can look into it
Uh-huh.
in the coming year,
Okay,
so.
Thank you.
We heard it.
Thank you, Mr. Chase. Mr. Cahill, good morning.
Good morning, Michael Cahill, Ash Swamp Road. I believe like last year, this was on the ballot, and it was 7 cents impact on the tax. Is that a trend we could use to think about whether we should support this or not?
That's for the voters to decide, but I take your point.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Lisa Cordner, Lady Slipper Drive. I was curious how that 8-cent impact was reached, and is that a true number that we can count on in terms of voting and seeing that actually play out? Taxes have been rising pretty aggressively in town, and I think people are feeling it. And it's always a small amount we're voting on, and then we're getting walloped with a large bill when the day comes to pay taxes. How are those numbers reached? How true are they?
I think, Mr. Fournier, you're
Yep.
in the best position to address this.
So the way and this is, first thing, no, they're all estimates with the numbers we have as of today. The way we determine the estimated tax impact is you take the value, you divide it by the assessed value of the town, which is about 1.7 billion, then you multiply that by 1,000. That comes to an estimate. One of the things that can change in the meantime, the assessed value of the town can go up. We get revenue sources other places to offset it. And when you see it on your personal property tax bill, your property, your assessed value may go up. When the assessed value goes up, the rate usually goes down, but it usually evens out, unless there's a big fluctuation. So that's how we determine the estimate, and it's just an estimate as of today. We don't set the tax rate. The state of New Hampshire does. We provide them with the numbers, but they're the ones who ultimately sign off on that.
Gary Swanson, One Doral Drive. Just to follow up with the town manager, so I understand that the impact is an estimate and based on the data we have now. However, the loan amount is a fixed amount, and then this project costs a fixed amount?
Yep.
Okay, so in other words, that's not going to change.
No.
What may change is the calculus that creates whether it's 8
Exactly.
cents, 7.8 cents, 9.1 cents.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
It's a reality of the process that the final tax rate has not yet been set, and therefore the exact impact cannot be determined at this time. This has been true since the beginning of time. Mr. Arcieri, good morning.
Morning. Yes, Bill Arcieri, 36 Brialia Circle. I was wondering if anybody could explain the components to this, what's behind the 1.4 million, what comes to that number, and what are the benefits of this project in the end?
Okay, hold on. Just a few things. One, is it okay if I ask the town engineer who's not a resident?
Is there any objection to the town engineer coming, because he has the most information she has the most information, pardon me, about how this number was compiled? So if there's no objection, I'd ask the town engineer to please step forward and address this question. Thank you, and I apologize. If you can come to the microphone here, and that way they can see you. And just follow up questions. Thank you very much.
Lindsay Butler, town engineer. So the components of this project, is that better? Can you hear? Okay. Major components of this project are to install 4 high-rate biofiltration units and to reconstruct the roadway to super elevate and direct the runoff into these treatment units so that the treatment units can remove pollutants, TSS, nitrogen, and phosphorus primarily, before being discharged directly to the bay. So currently there's 0 stormwater treatment for the roadways in this neighborhood, and we're looking to install those 4 units, which are relatively low maintenance types of units and are targeted at nitrogen removal. So this is helping us meet our requirements for reducing nitrogen load to Great Bay.
Can you maybe speak a little bit about how the number is developed, how the estimates are developed?
This cost estimate was developed using standard engineering practices and comparing to other recent construction projects for construction materials, all of the items and materials that are incorporated with this, the installation, including labor and construction equipment that goes along with installing the units and reconstructing the roadways, and then final stabilization around the area. So yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments on warrant article number 2? Good morning.
Hi, Steve. I'm Trish Simon. I live at 510 Cushing, and I know that the warrant articles have to have specific language, but when things were online on the town website, they talked about a lot of the benefits that this would have for the coastal region and coastal erosion, and that we've already had a study done, and that is not included in the warrant article.
We can't.
You can't do it
Nope.
because of,
Yep.
okay, that's what I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
We can't have advocacy language in the warrant article,
Okay.
basically, one way or the other. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Dan Crowley. I'm 225 Cushion Road, and I would like the engineer to explain how many homes on Cushion Road are affected by this bond. And I would also like to have, possibly if able to do, the explanation of Cushing Road as far as the size of the road and how much of the area of Cushing Road that this would be done on, because in a blog that probably stopped the vote from being passed last year was that the new homes on Cushing Road should pay for it because they're rich people. And that might be, but I'm not sure that I qualify to be a rich person. But those homes have nothing to do with the homes that this is for, which have been there for 25 or 30 years. Another issue as far as for town folk, there are little or no educational expenses for the Moody Point. We might have one, maybe at most 4 or 5 in the history that I'm aware of in the last 5 or 6 years going to school. So we don't mind paying our fair share and paying for other children's schools, but we do want to properly treat the bay and do the things that are supposed to be done. And I think it's asinine that this doesn't go through.
Thank you, sir.
Can I clarify one thing you said about the bond?
Sure.
I just want to clarify that you said the bond and the number of houses that would pay for the bond out there. Understand what you said later on in the conversation, that the entire town pays for the bond. It's not just one neighborhood. So I just wanted to clarify that to make sure everybody understands that.
I suspect the town engineer would say that the benefit is to Great Bay, which benefits everybody to a certain extent, and not necessarily specific. It's not intended to benefit specific houses. Is that fair? Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I was just curious too in
Can you
terms
just
of
remind me your name, please?
Lisa Cordner
Thank
on Lady Slipper Drive.
Thank you.
And in terms of long-term maintenance, so it sounds like this is talking about installation and getting everything set up. Can you talk a little bit more about what goes into long-term maintenance of this?
You want to speak to that?
I can do it. I mean,
Okay.
it'll be part of our stormwater system, so we'll do regular cleanings, vacuuming, cleaning out the system. So it'll be just part of our regular stormwater system that we maintain on an annual basis. You have to come to the microphone.
And what kind of costs come with that?
We don't have that estimate. It's just part of normal operations. So it'd be just part of the operating budget.
Okay.
It's not a special project. It's just increasing our operations.
It's like snow removal. You do it when you need to do it, and you pay for it because you need to pay for it. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for putting this on for
Val
us.
Shelton.
Val Shelton, 124 Cushing Road. I just wanted to follow up on the town engineer's response to the question about the cost of the project, estimated cost. So I was part of the group that included the town, excuse me, DES, to move forward for the first phase of this project, which was the engineering and design. We missed out by one vote, I think that was in 2022, as to the top 15 that would get funding for the initial design project. The following year, we were awarded the $100,000, grant, so that came to the town from the state and from DES to actually do all the engineering and design work. So there was, and that followed through for over a year. There's been, with all the people involved from DES, the town, all of our employees with the town, and then volunteers and engineers that have been doing peer review on this. There's been hundreds and hundreds of hours to already come up to the design. Many of those hours are volunteer hours or town staff hours. So the $100,000 is really not representative of what we've already invested as a town into this at no cost to the taxpayer. The $1.44 million is a result of many components of that, the preliminary cost estimates that have all been reviewed by the town engineer. And so I just wanted to add that comment. Thank you.
Is it fair to say, there's no construction contract at this point, because you need the
No,
money
go to
first,
bid.
but it'll go out, it will go out for competitive bidding, the final, so that's how the final cost will be determined. The town has a robust bidding process procedure. Good morning.
Good morning. Dale Pike, 30 Smith Garrison Road. I had a question. This is, it seems like part of what's being accomplished here is reduction in non-point nitrogen pollution. So in some sense, I thought when the sewer plant was renovated, we had to enter in an agreement into reduction of non-point pollution. So in some sense, there was an agreement by the town that they would take on certain projects, looking for the most efficient way to meet that agreement with the reduction of non-point pollution of nitrogen into Great Bay. So I think this was probably part of what people should understand is we had an obligation to do that. And what you look for are what are the most cost-effective ways to reduce nitrogen into the Great Bay, where you reduce the most nitrogen for the least cost to the residents of Newmarket. And I think this is probably in that spirit that this comes forward.
Thank you. Any further comment on questions on warrant article number 2? Going once, going twice. Warrant article 2 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Thank you. Article number 3. And I forgot to mention that Article 2 was recommended by the Town Council and the Budget Committee unanimously on both sides. Apologize for that. Article 3, issuance of $100,000 bonds, of $100,000 in bonds, I guess, for the purpose of creating a master plan for the wastewater department to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 and no cents, gross budget, for the purpose of investigative studies, consultants, and materials to draft and prepare a master plan for the wastewater department, referred to as the project. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $100,000 in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, and to authorize the Town Council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon, and to take such other actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town. And additionally, to authorize the Town Council to apply for, accept, and expend federal and state grants or money from any other governmental unit or private source, which may at any time become available to be applied toward the project, or to reduce the amounts to be repaid on such bonds or notes, and to participate in the state revolving fund established in RSA 486-14 for this purpose. It is anticipated that the town will receive up to $100,000 in principal forgiveness from the state revolving fund loan program. If passed, there will be no anticipated impact on the tax rate. 2/3 majority vote required, unanimously recommended by both the town council and the budget committee. Are there questions, comments, any proposed amendments to warrant article number 3? Seeing none, warrant article 3 will proceed to the warrant as presented, or to the ballot as presented, excuse me. Warrant article 4, Shanda Park Stormwater Planning Project. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 and no cents gross budget for the purpose of stormwater design, permitting, and construction relative to coastal resilience and management of the municipal stormwater drain system in accordance with state and federal water quality guidelines. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $100,000 in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, and to authorize the town council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes, to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon, and to take such actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town, and additionally to authorize the town to apply for, accept, and expend federal, state, or nonprofit grants or other private funds to be applied toward the project or to reduce amounts to be repaid on such bonds or notes, and to participate in the state revolving fund established in RSA 486-14 for this purpose. The project is contingent upon approval of a clean water SRF at state revolving fund loan, which may be eligible for up to 100% of loan principal forgiveness. If passed, there will be no anticipated impacts on the tax rate. 2/3 vote required, recommended by the town council and the budget committee unanimously. Any questions, comments, proposed amendments on warrant article number 4? Seeing none, warrant article 4 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant article number 5, the issuance of $160,000 in bonds for the purpose of water infrastructure improvements to replace water system services, improving compliance with federal lead and copper rules. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $160,000 and no cents gross budget to identify, design, permit, purchase materials, and construct and replace water system services, improving compliance with the federal lead and copper rule. Such sum to be raised by the issuance of serial bonds or notes not to exceed $160,000 in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, and to authorize the town council to issue and negotiate such bonds or notes, and to determine the date, term of payment, and rate of interest thereon, and to take such other actions as may be necessary to effect the issuance, negotiation, sale, and delivery of such bonds or notes as shall be in the best interest of the town, and additionally to authorize the town council to apply for, accept, and expend federal and state grants or money from any other governmental unit or private source which may at any time become available to be applied towards a project or to reduce amounts to be repaid on such bonds or notes, and to participate in the state revolving fund established in RSA 486-14 for this purpose. It is anticipated that the state will receive up to $112,000 in principal forgiveness from the state revolving fund loan program. If passed, there will be no anticipated impact on the tax rate. 2/3 majority vote required, recommended unanimously by the town council and the budget committee. Any questions, comments? Proposed amendments on warrant article number 5. I think we're seeing a theme of water and stormwater. Water is everything. Seeing no comments, warrant article 5 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant article 6, proposed repeal of Fund 07, the Solid Waste Fund. To see if the town will vote to rescind the provisions of RSA 31:95-C related to the Solid Waste Special Revenue Fund as established by Article 2 of the 1999 town meeting, which restricted 100% of revenues from the disposal of solid waste to expenditures for the purpose of solid waste collection and disposal. If rescinded, any remaining amounts in the rescinded sewer waste special revenue fund shall become part of the general fund accumulated surplus. Recommended unanimously by the Town Council and the Budget Committee. Any comments, questions on warrant article number 6? Sir, good morning.
Roger Cady, Cushing Road. I'm confused by the article because it refers to the solid waste fund, except in the last
This is solid waste
sentence,
and
which
sewer.
it says sewer waste
Scrivener's
fund.
error.
Yeah, okay.
Could you please explain the difference between the sewer waste and solid waste funds?
It's intended, it's a typo. It's intended to be solid waste. So the sewer waste, it's not a separate fund. It's just a Scrivener's error in the warrant article.
Can we change the warrant article to read properly then?
We will, it'll be corrected on the ballot to reflect solid waste.
Thank you.
The solid waste special revenue fund is being flushed. Any comments on warrant article 6? Further questions? Warrant article 6 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Article 7, approving the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Newmarket and the New England Police Benevolent Association Local 215. To see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Newmarket and the New England Police Benevolent Association Local 215, which represents the police employees, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level. Fiscal year 2027, $55,538. These are the estimated salary and salary-driven benefits increases. Fiscal year 2028, $57,204. Fiscal year 2029, $73,725. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $55,538 for fiscal year 2027, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. If passed, it is estimated this article would amount to 3 cents in the tax rate, majority vote required, recommended by the Town Council 5-0 and the Budget Committee 5-0. Collective bargaining warrant articles can't be amended, but if there are questions, we can address questions. Ms. Lazarus, good morning.
Good morning, Joanne Lazarus, 170 Exeter Road. Full support for the CBA, thank you very much. I just have a question, I can't seem to find the information. How many police officers does Newmarket have now? I see we have an opening, so I'm just curious.
Police chief, I'll give the update the information here soon.
So Chief Jordan is going to step up to the mic and address your question.
Currently, we have 15 positions that this would cover.
Are those full-time or?
Those are full-time. We have a few part-time officers, but they would not be under this provision.
So 15 full-time officers. Is that, I'm sorry, Chief, that's 15 officers who are subject to this agreement, not counting command staff?
I apologize. There's 3 command staff, so this would be 12.
Okay. Any further questions? Sir?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jack Spear, 337 Wadley Falls
I'm
Road.
sorry.
Jack Spear, 337 Wadley Falls.
Thank you.
Question about fiscal year '29. On the slide, it says 58,920.47. In the handout, it says 73,725. Just wondering about the discrepancy.
Mr. Fournier?
I believe the slide is wrong.
Okay. So 73,000
Yeah, if
is
it's-
the accurate.
If 73 is going on the ballot, then that's what you're going to vote on.
And those are just estimates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Any further questions? Comments with respect to warrant article number 7? Mr. Pike, good morning, again.
Again, yeah, I'm only reacting because that makes me curious. The 58,920 looks more like a 3% increase over FY '28. So are all three numbers wrong, or
No,
is?
just, on that, it's just the last one.
Okay, so why is it like, 25% higher instead of 3% higher? Because 73,000 is a lot
Again,
more.
it's just an estimate. Second of all, we try to estimate the inclusion of retirement benefits and what the estimated impact that's going to be in next year. We already have ideas what the impact's going to be with the increases, so we have to estimate and put it up there.
Right. So in other words, your best estimate that it's going to increase about 3% between FY '27 and FY '28, and then it's going to increase about 25% between FY '28 and FY '29?
It's not just salaries, it's also other benefits in there. So it's not just a clean 3%.
But 25% is a lot.
It is, but we're expecting retirement impacts in there, so.
Okay.
I hope that's clear. So, because the numbers include not just salary, but salary-driven benefit increases, which encompasses retirement, and there's foreseeable retirements. There may be more, there may be fewer, so you just have to estimate based on the best information you have. Any further questions, comments with respect to warrant article number 7? Seeing none, Article 7 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant Article 8, acquiring conservation easement on 16.3 acres of the Rosa property. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $402,000 for the purpose of acquiring an easement under the provisions of RSA 36-A, a conservation easement of 16.3 acres of the Rosa property that fronts along Wadley Falls Road in Newmarket, tax map R5, lot 81, for the permanent protection of open space, water resources, and wildlife habitat, and fee ownership over the 27-acre portion of the Rosa property that is located in the town of Durham, Durham tax map 235, lot 36, and further that $145,000 is to be raised by general taxation, and the remaining $57,000 amount to come from grants, other contributions, and the Conservation Commission Conservation Fund pursuant to RSA 36A:5. If passed, it is estimated that this article will amount to 8 cents in the tax rate, majority vote required, recommended by the Town Council 6-0, and 5-0 recommended by the Budget Committee. Any comments, questions? Dramatic pause when Mr. Arcieri approaches. Mr. Arcieri, good morning again.
Yes, Bill Arcieri, 36 Briale Circle. I'm just looking for a little clarification on the numbers. In Article 2, we were raising $1.4 million, and the impact on tax rate is 8 cents on the tax rate. And here we're raising $145,000 and still an 8 cents tax.
Because in Article 2, you're paying the first year debt service of the $1 million, which equals about the same as the payment for our share of the purchase. 8 cents isn't $1 million. Roughly about $1.70 on the tax rate is $1.7 million is $1 on the tax rate.
So it's the annual amount?
Annual pay. It's the first payment, yeah.
This is a one-time payment.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
All right, thanks.
I hope that's clear, that there's no equivalency, direct equivalency between Article 2 and Article 8. Article 2 is the debt service on the bond, and this is a one-time payment. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Ellen Snyder, 26 Johnson Drive. I just want to speak in favor of this warrant article, and just to clarify, it is a 40-acre project. It's going to cost $402,000. And so we're asking in this warrant article, the community's asking for $145,000 for a portion of that project. And the Conservation Commission of the town has already raised $221,000 in grants toward this project, so this warrant article will essentially get us very close to the end, and the Conservation Commission will apply for the remaining money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments, observations on warrant article number 8? See none, Article 8 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Just going to quickly check.
Yep.
I know you all are going to check. Article 9, contribution to capital reserve funds. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,348,203 to be placed in the following respective capital reserve funds. Public Works, $75,000. Roadway improvements, $250,000. Stormwater management, $50,000. Fire department, $51,000. Police dispatch equipment, $29,420. Veterans Memorial, $2,000. 300th Anniversary Fund, $10,000. Recreation Facilities, $25,000. Master Plan, $12,000. Library, $20,000. Telecommunications and MIS, $20,000. Compensated absences, $20,000. Sidewalks, $100,000. Water, $239,816. And sewer, $443,967. Of such monies, $664,420 is to come from unassigned fund balance. $239,816 is to come from water rates for water system-related capital reserve funds, and $443,967 is to come from sewer rates for the sewer system-related capital reserve fund. There will be no impact on the tax rate, recommended by the town council unanimously, and unanimously recommended by the Municipal Budget Committee. So there's a lot of numbers there, so if there are questions and comments, please step forward and we'll do our best to address them.
Me again, Lisa at Lady Slipper, Lisa Cordner.
Thank you.
So we talked about that maintenance of the stormwater. Is this, so you're saying that's an operating budget that would address that? This is separate, is that correct?
That's correct.
Can you explain the difference between the two and what we're looking at functionally?
So this year, when the Charter Commission sent in their amendments to the charter, the Department of Revenue Administration and the Attorney General's realized that there was an error in our charter because the state law changed since the last time we amended it. And traditionally, we always had our contribution to our capital reserve funds in our operating budget. A bill passed in 2017, which was not supposed to impact charter communities, did, and required us to take our contributions to capital reserve funds out of the operating budget and put it back on the ballot. Capital reserve funds are our savings accounts. It's so if we have a large project, we put the money aside and we can withdraw from it in the future. So this is not operations. This is everything from new vehicles that for public works that are and fire that are more expensive than just an operating expense to the 300th anniversary only comes up once. But we've been saving for that for a number of years. And so this is really our savings account. What we do, and which I've done since we've been here, is we try to equal the amount that we're contributing to amount that we can safely withdraw from our fund balance, which is our surplus, for lack of a better term. So it doesn't impact the tax rate. And we always did that before. Next slide, when we start getting into the budget, I'll explain that more and the impact on the budget. But these are our savings accounts, not our operations.
I will just add briefly, at a high level, when it comes to stormwater, water, and sewer, the regulatory environment is somewhat dynamic. It's always changing. It's always becoming more stringent. So it's nice to have money set aside to address issues that may arise. Sir. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Peter Degnan. I live on Lookout Place. And I'm just kind of curious if there's an unassigned fund balance of over $600,000, why instead of placing it in a capital reserve fund, why that wouldn't be used for property tax mediation?
Technically, it is. What we're doing is, instead of raising this money through taxation, we're putting it, that's where we're withdrawing. One of the things that the council, in the past, we have a fund balance policy that we must keep between 5 and 15% unassigned fund balance. The town has to keep fund balance to cover not only the town, but the school, as well as the county, our contributions to them. In early 2010s, about 2013, 2011, 2012, we would use unassigned fund balance to reduce the tax rate. The problem there is, if you don't have the fund balance the next year, your tax rate jumps up really high. So what instead was, if we used it to offset contributions to the capital reserve funds, if you don't have the fund balance, the tax rate stays somewhat level, but you just don't contribute as much to the capital reserve funds. So that's why we've been doing it for, gosh, I want to say almost 14 years that way. Because you don't want to have an artificial spikes and drops in the tax rate by just throwing the money towards the tax rate. We put it towards the contribution to the capital reserve funds. So you offset taxes.
Any further questions, comments on warrant article number 9? Mr. Pike?
3 strikes and I'm out. This is it.
We're happy to hear from you.
I think it's worth saying that, I think the explanations for this are good, but just at some point I wanted to put in an overall comment. Going back to a time on the town council, we had a efficiency study done in Newmarket, and I think it's a good idea to remember that we that were counselors at the time thought we were going to find all kinds of ways to save money, and the big surprise where they came in and said, be careful, you guys have been saving a lot of money for years, and you could be in line for some big expenses in the future because you are very efficient. And to my mind, nothing has really changed about that. We have big challenges. We have beautiful infrastructure in this town, and we have wonderful natural resources, and we do a great job of finding grants to take care of those. So a lot of these warrant articles represent, just as spoken to before, it represents a lot of work, a lot of meetings. I'm on the Riverfront Committee, so when you look at that Moonlight Brook, there are all kinds of discussions trying to fix some big problems, and there's a lot of grant money out there that are in the works, but sometimes you just have to have money in some of these kitties to be able to take advantage of that. And I think I'm just kind of here commending through this article and the other way the town is currently managed. I think there is a lot of good work that goes in so that we have a nice town to live in. The property taxes are high, but in some ways they've been getting better because the town is becoming, you're seeing a lot higher, it's a problem for affordability, but there are a lot more higher priced properties coming into town. It's a really attractive town, and I think the town's doing a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Pike. Any further questions, comments on warrant article 9? I will say that we strongly encourage people to educate yourselves, come to town council meetings, budget committee, get involved, learn how these pieces fit together. We're always open to it.
If you scan the QR code, it will go to a website with all the backup documents on there. We put them online so everybody can see everything.
If there's no further comment on warrant article number 9, Article 9 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Article 10, fiscal year 27 operating budget. To see if the town will raise and appropriate as an operating budget not including appropriations by special warrant articles, the amounts set forth in the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $18,439,005. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $17,803,536, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the town council may hold one special meeting to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. If passed, it is estimated the passage of this article will amount to $4.71 of the tax rate, which is a 9-cent increase over the previous year. Majority vote required, recommended unanimously by the Budget Committee and the Town Council. And typically at this point, Mr. Fournier makes a presentation, and then we'll open the floor for discussion, comment, amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is the slide the superintendent loves. We talked about this week. That I always like to start off by explaining what part of your tax dollars you're discussing. So 66% of your tax dollars goes to the local school rate. Another 6% goes to the state school rate, which isn't really something we don't send money to Concord and get it back. It's just that by law we have to raise that amount. So 72% of your tax dollars go to the school. Today right now we're discussing the 25%, which is the town. And we also have to collect 3% for the county operations. Sorry, throw you under the bus, Todd. And just to, the next slide is just an, whoops, sorry about that. Anyways, so the town, right here, as you can see, has remained pretty level for the last few years. I know former Council Pike mentioned that, the efficiency study, but yeah, we do have a lot of investments coming up. And one of the things from that efficiency study that was interesting, because when the council said, oh, we're going to find a bunch of fat, they said, no, you're running too thin with a lot of items. So today, the Municipal Budget Committee and the Town Council are recommending a budget of $18,439,005, which is a decrease over last year's, and I'll get into this in a second, why there's an increase but in the taxes, but a decrease of $195,214.24. The general fund, they're recommending $11,891,892, $2,174,672 in special revenue, which is the recreation revolving, the solid waste currently, in the library, since the library is a contribution, and the enterprise funds, which is $4,372,441, which is water and sewer. The reason why there's a reduction but an increase is because there's also going to be a reduction in the revenues. That the money that we were withdrawing from the fund balance on the revenue side equals that amount. So that's the reason why there's a decrease in the budget, increase in the by 9 cents. So of the budget, 64%, as I said, goes to the general fund. 24% is water and sewer, the enterprise funds, and another 12% goes to special revenue funds. So where's the increase going this year? Healthcare, we're seeing an increase of $207,842. That 1 year last year, if you remember, we had a 1 year agreement to update the police contract because we're having a hard time finding police officers to work. The implementation of that this year is $439,904. The New Hampshire Retirement System contributions are increasing $101,403. And the fire department per diems, we're seeing an increase of $100,000. One of the things for the fire department that our system, we can't rely completely on volunteers. So what we have is a per diem system where we pay firefighters from other communities who work full-time jobs a per diem to work in Newmarket to have station coverage on those days off. That's saving us a lot of money from having to go to a full-time 24 on, 24 off fire department at this point in time. For a community of our size, we're one of the last that does not have one of those. And just a comparison, again, of the different funds. I apologize, it was a transfer issue with the fonts, and it looks much cleaner on mine. So, but as you can see, this $10,508,17 is the total. Oh, this is the revenue. We're estimating revenue at $10,508,17. As you can see, that's the reduction between the 11 11,008,017 that I recommended, because in between we found that difference in the charter amendment, so then we had to back that out. So that's why there's a reduction there, and that's where you see that difference of what we contribute now to the capital reserve funds. The default budget, if the budget were to fail, our estimated default budget is $18,439,005, which would be a reduction, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. Get a little warm up here. $17,803,536, which would be a reduction of the $18,439,005. What we do to determine the default budget is you take out any one-time expenditures and add contractual obligations. So if this was to fail, that's what the budget we would have to work with. This is the one we should have used at the beginning, all of the slides are estimate only when talking about taxes, because we do have other things that come up during the year that would impact this. So, the way we determine the tax rate is you take the total expenditures of $18,439,005, you subtract the estimated revenues of $10,508,017, you add overlay as what we have to pay for abatements, which is usually about $10,000. Then we add the war service credits, which is your veterans exemptions and other credits that we provide to our veterans, which is about $145,000. So the net appropriation is $8,969,101. So the town assessed value, which is $725,850,442. You divide that $8 million by that $1.7 billion, and then you multiply it by 1,000, and you get $4.71 as an estimate, which is a 9-cent increase over last year's. And that is the operating budget.
Floor is open for discussion, questions, comments on the operating budget. Warrant article number 10. Good morning.
Lonnie Stebbins, 10 Hayden Place. Could we go back to that second slide?
This one?
Nope. Keep going.
This one?
Yeah, that one. Just a comment that in 2017, the town did approve a 38-point-something million bond for this beautiful facility that we are all sitting in right now. And that gets used by the town, the community members. I do believe the only children here today are my own, sitting back there. So theoretically, we could scooch that part of the town pie chart over a little bit, being as the school board, the school district does pay a payment on that bond every single year for the next few decades, although it's not just the school children who use it.
Just to say, this is not out of the ordinary for any municipality in the state. This is the normal, 25 is used, goes to the municipality, 75 goes, around 75 goes to the school, and that small amount goes to the county. This is not out of the ordinary.
So, any further questions, comments, proposed amendments to warrant article number 10? Seeing none, Article 10 will go to the ballot as presented. So the remaining warrant articles 11 through 18 are charter amendments. These are not amendable by the meeting. Charter amendments arrive on the ballot through a completely different process than the budget, ordinary kind of money budget development items. And Mr. Nazaro, who's the vice chair of the Charter Commission, is going to speak to the charter amendments. Just, we can still have questions and comments about it.
Mr. Moderator, if I may?
Yeah.
The school board has legally published, I believe that our meeting starts at 10 a.m. I think we've run into this before where we've had to take a recess, start the school board meeting, put that in recess, continue the town meeting. But I just wanted to bring that up in case we need to make sure we.
So are you making a motion to recess the town meeting so that we can?
Gary Swanson, 1 Durrell Drive. I'd like to make a motion that we recess the town council deliberative session so that the school board deliberative session may begin. at which time we'll probably put that in recess, so maybe continue the town council session until its conclusion.
And Joanne Lazarus seconds that motion. So what's being proposed here is the school district meeting is scheduled to start at 10. So we're going to put this meeting in recess so we can stay on schedule of the school district meeting. When the school district meeting is complete, we will resume the town deliberative session and continue with Mr. Nazzaro's gripping presentation on the charter amendments.
Got a kid at basketball, I gotta go. Over there too.
Okay. So all those in favor of going into recess pending the completion of the school district meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Opposed.
The ayes have it. The meeting is in recess, and you need to re-register on the checklist in order to They have to check in again, because it's a separate governing body. Of Newmarket, deliberative session. And our first order of business, as always, is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So for those of you, and it looks like many of you, if not all of you, the same moderator's rules of procedures that apply to the town meeting apply to this meeting. And I want to emphasize again that the rules and the process that we follow essentially is up to you, the voters. I'm just here to maintain order and try to keep us moving. And the voters can override or set up their own rules if they choose to do so. Override any decisions I may make. In the meantime, barring any objection, we're going to follow the rules of procedure that have been passed out. So as was the case with the town warrant, the first article is for the choose school district officers for the coming year. That is going to go on the ballot as presented, and all these warrant articles will go on the ballot as presented unless there are amendments on the floor.
And there's one candidate for each office that are listed up there.
Yep, and there is one candidate for each office, including my office, which is school district moderator, school district clerk, school district treasurer, and one school board member for a 3-year term. So we're going to, are we doing the video or?
Nope.
Nope, okay.
Keep going.
So warrant article number 2. The average cost per pupil for the preceding year as calculated in accordance with RSA 18975, Roman numeral 1A, is $24,106. ELA proficiency, 67%. Math proficiency, 51%. Science proficiency, 48%. Shall the Newmarket School District vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amounts set forth on the budget, posted with the warrant, or as amended by vote of the first session, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $30,547,370. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $471,845, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Newmarket School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 40:13, Roman numerals 10 and 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority ballot vote required, recommended unanimously by the school board and the budget committee. And what I'm going to do, with the meeting's permission, is have Mr. Allen step forward and provide some explanation and context for the budget, and then we'll open the floor for discussion, questions, and amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I did want to start with something that is new on the ballot this year. And it is, I'm going to just be honest with you, it's kind of awkward to have that statement before the operating budget, but it's prescribed by a new state law that went into effect in 2024, and this is the first budget cycle that we're required to report it. And we're not allowed on the ballot to give any context to it, so I did want to take a minute to provide that context. I'm referring to the number, cost per pupil, and the state proficiency results. The slide you have in front of you right now is giving you an idea of where the Newmarket schools stand compared to state average on the three areas that are reported. You'll see ELA proficiency, we're 67%, the state average is 55, so we're significantly above state average. Math proficiency is 51, state average is 42, so we're significantly above state average. Science proficiency is 48. We are 48, state is 38, so we're 10%. So I think it's important to keep that context. This gives you the 3-year context of that. We are consistently performing above state average in all of those areas. This slide gives you a comparison of where we stack up against school districts around us in the area of reading. I know Patty Wands enjoys me pointing out that we're ahead of Exeter, because that's her former district. We're going to beat Oyster River one of these days. And then this is our math proficiency as well. We're roughly in the same ballpark. The other thing I wanted to take a minute to talk about is cost per pupil, just because that is a metric people look at when they're trying to judge the efficiency of a school budget, and I think it is a valid measure, but if you look at it with no context around it, it can be misleading. So our current cost per pupil for the school year that ended 24-25 was $24,106. You can see compared to the state average of $22,699, we are above the state average. One of the things that Lonnie pointed out earlier in regard to the tax differential or distribution in the town, we have a bond that is fairly impactful. We pay $2.1 million every year in a bond payment. So if you were to remove that from Newmarket's cost per pupil, we are actually below state average. And more importantly, over the last 3 years, we have been moving closer and closer to state average by making efficiency adjustments and staffing adjustments. So over the last 3 years, the state per pupil cost has gone up at a rate of 5.5, while Newmarket has been 3.3 over that same time period. So I think it's really important that people understand we are aware of the impact of the school budget. When Mr. Fournier pointed out the 72% cost, we know that, and we know how impactful it is, and we're doing everything we can to be as efficient as possible. So I just wanted to highlight that for you. I would like to say it is not necessarily solid logic to remove bond cost, because the reality is we do have a bond. But one of the things I think is important to realize is that Newmarket took on bond debt when the state had a moratorium on school financing. And that is, we were committed to it, we made a decision, but we live with that impact every year. Continuing, Mr. Moderator, do we want to, I'd be happy to, I'm guessing you have a comment on this slide. I'm happy to allow him if you will entertain that.
Well, I will.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes, Michael Cahill, Ash Swamp Road. Two things. On the proficiency, it would appear that all the children are above average. Right. And that, as you stated, we have a large expenditure annually until 2046, did you say?
2046, yes,
And it's larger because the state isn't funding school building aid.
correct.
We need to do something, don't we?
I would agree, and I hear there are people in the legislature working on that.
And there are people working against it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you for your efforts on that. Okay, so diving into the actual operating budget, whenever we begin the budget process, we have goals that we work from. We started with looking at the appropriation, like what level of appropriation are we looking to try to come in at? The board set a 4% goal there. We wanted to make sure to support all of our ongoing school improvement efforts. Both of our schools have growth plans targeting things like student performance and so forth. We wanted to make sure the funding was there to keep doing the good work that's happening there. We have developed a multi-year capital improvement plan to make sure we're able to keep the great facilities we have great for the years to come. So that's something we wanted to make sure to fund. We also want to make sure that we're able to attract and keep high-quality employees, which we are very blessed that we have really great employees in this district. We want to make sure we can continue to do that, so we've made a commitment to trying to keep our salaries competitive with our surrounding communities. We also have, since the pandemic in particular, there's been an increased need to focus on student behavioral and mental health, and we've done a lot of work on that. I want to make sure that we're able to continue to do that. We're seeking out grant funding and so forth, so there's a lot going on there. And then ultimately, we always remind ourselves, as we said, school district is 72% of the tax rate. We need to be responsible with Newmarket's money. It's not our money, it's your money, and we want to make sure we're proposing things that are reasonable, and so we are very cognizant of that. This slide is sort of cuts to the chase. This is the entire budget. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, you see the proposed budget is a 4.35% increase over the past year. That's $1,272,979. You'll see that there is a number that is, I highlighted it, but it actually blocked it out. That's not good. That number that's on your handouts, I think you can read it. The number that's blocked out, it's the health insurance contribution. It's in yellow on the slide, $704,000. That's how much we needed to increase health insurance budgeting because of just dramatic changes in the health insurance market in the state. If you haven't been following, most schools and municipalities benefit from a thing called pooled health insurance. And last year, one of the main entities that does that went out of business due to some changes in regulations at the state level, which was very impactful on the market. We then were put in a position where there really was only one game in town for us to get our insurance, and that turned out to be school care. And to be honest, that is going up to the tune of 20%. So that $704,000, if you look at the $1,279,000 total increase, most of that is absorbing an inordinate health insurance cost. I'd love to stand here and tell you I think that's a one-time thing, but sadly health insurance is just a very expensive thing, and until this country and this state figures out how they want to do it, we're going to continue to have to absorb significant costs, because that is part of your employee costs. What you will see at the bottom of that slide, you'll see operationally we have reduced costs by 1.54%. And that we've done a lot of efficiency efforts, a lot of things that have actively reduced costs, including some of the great work done by our Student Services Department to make sure that we can educate our kids as much as possible in districts so we're not having to send kids to out-of-district placements. This slide is a pie graph kind of giving you that indication of how we're spending the money. You can see, 69–70% of that is employee costs, 24% is operations, and debt service is 7.3%. And that's that bond debt that we start every year with. You start with $2.1 million and then you build from there. This gives you a historical context on budgets over the last 6 years. You can see typically our budgets go up somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5%. You'll see last year we had an increase of 1.97, but that was the teacher contract that you voted on and approved. Thank you very much. A much needed increase in teacher salary. but that was not included in that 1.97 number. When you add the cost of the contract in, last year's total increase was 4.4%. So it's very much in line, but we knew that was going to be a cost we needed to absorb, and so we planned our budget with that in mind. Obviously, this year, we absorbed the new cost of the teacher contract, and so you now have the 4.35. And again, as I said, the health insurance cost is pretty dramatic as well. It's always helpful for me to stop and talk about state revenues. One of the things that we talk about here is appropriations. And as was pointed out in this morning's meeting, the tax rate doesn't get set until November, December. So all we can talk about here is what do we want to be able to spend? So how does this impact the tax rate? And I think that's where most voters are concerned. And it is a bit of a frustrating thing for us as a district to have very few levers we can pull to impact the tax rate. Clearly, as Steve pointed out, 72% of total is the school district, but 6% of that 72 is what is called the statewide education property tax. That's the blue bar at the bottom of this graph. Basically what it is the state says, hey, Newmarket, give us $1.8 million. Thank you. Okay, here, Newmarket, here's $1.8 million back. It doesn't effectively do anything other than it allows the box to be checked that, hey, the state is contributing. But the truth of the matter is that's money coming out of your pockets. It's real. The aid that is impactful on the tax rate is what is called state grant aid, or adequacy aid is often how it's referred. And you can see over the last 6 years, for the most part, that has been flat. It has been this, we get somewhere around $3 million. That's less than 10% of our total operating costs. And that has been the same for all 6 years. Go out and try to buy something today at 2021 prices, and you can't do that. So the buying power goes down. So what that means to the taxpayer is an increasing part of the school operating budget is falling to local taxpayers. And I just want to acknowledge that that is what's happening, and that's why we are so careful to make sure we're only asking for what we need. What's new in this budget? Really only one major thing. We had 2.4 unfilled positions this year that we are repurposing to address some ongoing program improvement efforts around student mental health. We recognize at the elementary level we have one counselor and 486 kids. So we believe that we need 2 actual regular school counselors. And we also have been working very hard to develop a MTSSB, multi-tiered system of support for behavioral health supports. But what we lack is somebody to coordinate that effort across the district. And with some creative efforts around grant funding and so forth, we've been able to do that. And so we're repurposing 2.4 positions to those 2 positions, and then basically we're reducing overall staffing by 0.4. So in the end, total staffing is going down by 0.4. These were vacant positions that we are now repurposing. But again, it's to do that. The last thing I want to say is the default budget. One of the things I hope people are noticing, in the last 2 years, the default budget has been almost the same thing as the proposed budget. Last year, there was a $51,000 difference, and this year there's a $75,000 difference. So what that means is if you vote no on the budget, the default budget is what would take hold. And I want to just take a minute to explain why that is. It's because we are budgeting so tightly, and we are actively trying to make sure that we're only asking for what we need. Most of the costs that go into the default budget are contractual obligations. I mean, we have to pay our bus contract, we have to pay our salaries, we have to pay benefits. So there really isn't a lot of wiggle room there. So when you say, what are you proposing? We're proposing a very lean budget. So with that, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Any questions, comments, amendments with respect to warrant article number 2? Seeing none, warrant article 2 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant article number 3. Shall the district vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Newmarket School Board and the Newmarket Support Staff Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels over those paid in the prior fiscal year. 2026 to 2027, $134,043. 2027 to 2028, $92,135. 2028 to 2029, $76,155. 2029 to 2030, $69,675. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $134,043 for the upcoming fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreements over those that will be paid at current staffing levels. The estimated tax impact of this article is 8 cents. Majority vote required, unanimously recommended by the school board and the budget committee. And just as a reminder, this is the support staff contract, not the teacher contract that was last year. So, Mr. Allen.
So as I said, we have had an ongoing plan to make sure that the salaries and benefits being paid to Newmarket people are competitive with our surrounding areas. One of the challenges we have faced, and many districts face, is getting enough qualified paraeducators and tutors to work in our districts. We have struggled with that for the entire time I've been here. One of the things we've attempted to do is to make sure that the salaries and what we're paying people is competitive with all of our surrounding communities. And we are now at a point where people can choose to work in Newmarket because it's a rate that's comparable. They're not going to say, gee, I've got an offer in Portsmouth, I'm not going to take the one in Newmarket because we're not paying as much. So we have made adjustments. This contract is trying to continue to stay competitive. So basically what the new contract is, it's a 4-year deal. The agreement with the teachers was also a 4-year deal, and it was beneficial to us to spread the costs out over more years, but it also allowed us, because the teacher contract was 4 and the paras were, we will not be negotiating both contracts in the same year. So it keeps them in a different cycle. Basically what it does, it gives a COLA of 4% each year for the next 4 years. It increases longevity by 25 cents an hour. It does introduce a differential pay for advanced training. So paras who choose to get para certification or an associate's degree or a various degree. One of the things we're realizing more and more is the pipeline to get good teachers is actually potentially the para world. And so if we can get paras that have a vision of themselves in education and can train them up, it can be very beneficial to us. So our hope is to do that. We increased the number of holidays that paras get. Basically what we did was we brought in line with what we do for all of our other school year employees. So basically paras were being given fewer vacation days than our office staffs and so forth. So we brought them in line with that over the course of the contract. It also, one of the things we want to do is to incentivize people to come to work, go figure. So we want to make it so that people don't maximize the use of their paid time off, and there's an incentive to hang on to it. And so one of the things we've done is built in when people retire, they can cash in up to $60 a day for up to 50 days. So when they leave, they can access that as a benefit. And it incentivizes keeping some sick time and getting people to come to work. We've added PD reimbursements, which didn't exist before. Paras were basically on their own for that, so this will allow them to make choices. And actually, for us, we see it as a recruiting opportunity to say, hey, come to Newmarket, we'll train you up and as an educator. And then the other big thing, which, as I mentioned, health insurance is brutal, and they did agree to changing health care plans and adopting what is it's called School Care 2.0, and they accepted that, which I don't want to say it was a savings to the district, but it was less more than we would have paid had they not accepted that. So that's what the contract entails.
This being a collective bargaining item, it's not subject to amendment, but if there are questions or comments. Ms. Lazarus, good morning again.
Good morning, Joanne Lazarus, 170 Exeter Road. I just am speaking up in full support of this CBA. Many of our paras have for years been working just for insurance. They barely get a paycheck. They're paying for their health insurance. So to see the Newmarket School District recognizing their valuable work they do and helping them put money in their pocket so they can do things like buy food is fabulous. So thank you for your work on this, and I really hope that everyone supports this contract. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further comment, question on warrant article number 3? Seeing none, Article 3 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant article number 4, I'm not sure this requires extended discussion, is shall the district, if Article 3 is defeated, authorize the governing body to call one special meeting at its option to address Article 3 cost items only. Majority vote required. I think that's fairly self-explanatory, but if there's any questions or comments, the floor is open. Seeing none, Article 4 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant article number 5. Shall the district vote to raise and appropriate $150,000 to be added to the Insurance and Benefits Expendable Trust Fund previously established for the purpose of unanticipated insurance and employee benefits expenses, and further, to authorize the use of this amount from the June 30th fund balance available for transfer on July 1st. No amount to be raised by taxation, majority vote required, recommended unanimously by the school board and the budget committee. Mr. Allen, you want to briefly explain what's going on here?
Yeah, so theme here, health insurance is expensive. We did, this year, our health care provider, school care, we had what's called an additional assessment. What that means is the utilization of insurance for the 24-25 year that ended was much higher than they had projected, so it depleted the reserve funds that the school care had. Effectively, what they did was they passed about $30 million in health care costs on to all of the pooled insurance entities, and Newmarket was one of the 90 groups that received a bill for an additional assessment on health insurance. To us, it was $417,961. You notice I didn't even have to look at the slide. That number's burned in my head. It's like, wow. So one of the parts of paying that was to deplete our existing benefits fund. And so this article is asking for $150,000 to replenish that fund so that in the event that we have another unexpected health care cost in the next year, there'll be something there to fall back on. The intent of it is to take it from the year-end fund balance, so it would not have a tax impact. It would just simply be a transfer at the end of the fiscal year.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, amendments with respect to Article 5? Seeing none, Article 5 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Article 6, shall the district vote to raise and appropriate $100,000 to be added to the School Improvement Capital Reserve Fund, previously established, for the purpose of improving, expanding, maintaining, renovating, furnishing, and equipping school buildings. The school board recommends this appropriation unanimously, as does the Budget Committee. And there's a note, this recommendation is in accordance with the Newmarket School District Capital Improvement Plan for 2025 through 2043, approved by the school board on August 1st, 2024. The estimated tax impact of this article is 6 cents. And I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but if there's questions or comments, unless you feel a burning need.
I'll speak to it because this is a slightly different strategy than we've used before. Yeah, just what we have attempted to do with the capital reserve, capital improvement plan, is to fund it out of the year-end fund balance. But as I have said, health insurance has turned out to be a much bigger impact. And so in order to pay the assessment, we had to get creative with some of our financing strategies. And the board determined that doing this as an appropriation versus a year-end fund balance transfer made more sense. Yes, we acknowledge that it might cause people to say, let's not do it this year. We hope people will support it because we do think it's an important thing. We did lower the amount in the past. It's been $200,000. We lowered it to $100,000. One of the things to keep in mind is that we have Thankfully, the trustees of the trust funds have done some really bang-up work over the last couple of years of reinvesting our funds. So we actually have made more money on our trust funds in the last couple of years than we expected. For example, 2 years ago, we made $56,000 just in interest. In previous years, we were making literally single-digit thousands of dollars on it, so it's a big change. This past year, we made over $40,000. So my point is, there's more in the fund than when we built the plan. So while we don't think $100,000 every year is a sustainable plan for this 1 year, we recommend the $100,000. And this summer, you will see work being done on the roof at the high school. There's multiple sections of roof to the tune of $169,000 that we'll be doing, and it will use this fund.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Questions, comments, amendments on warrant article number 6? Seeing none, Article 6 will proceed to the ballot as presented. Warrant Article 7, are you in favor of changing the terms of the school moderator, school district clerk, and school district treasurer from 1 year to 2 years, beginning with the terms of the school moderator, school district clerk, and school district treasurer to be elected at next year's regular school district meeting? No amount to be raised by taxation, majority vote required, unanimously recommended by the school board, very much at the request of the school district moderator for the past 10 years.
We listen.
The town moderator term is 2 years, the school district moderator term has been 1 year, and it just, it's a hassle. So, anyway, any questions, comments on warrant article number 7? It's the school district moderator, it's not me, and I might not get reelected, so who knows? Seeing none, warrant article 7 will proceed to the ballot as presented. If there's no other business to come before the meeting, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Nazaro makes a motion to adjourn. Mr. Cahill seconds it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned. We'll see you on March 10th at the polling place. The Town of Newmarket deliberative session at going to call it 10:39 by my phone. We are here to resume consideration of warrant articles 11 through 18. These are the proposed charter amendments. These are not amendable by the meeting, but Mr. Nazaro, who's the vice chair of the Charter Commission, is going to make a presentation, and we can certainly field comments and questions. So, Mr. Nazaro, if you will.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Phil Nazaro, Vice Chair of the Charter Commission. I am here because Tony Weinstein, our chair, was unable to make it, unfortunately. But just wanted to give everyone, or those of you who remain, so thank you for hanging out, the opportunity to just ask questions on the charter amendments. The charter, there's a lot of technical work legal work in the language of the charter, so I want to make sure people understand what they're voting on. So, where's the presentation?
We just talked about this, and you said you didn't have it.
The town, it's okay. The town presentation is what I was looking for.
Can we, oh,
The one that was up there for the last meeting. Sorry, 2 meetings ago.
slight technical delay.
Talk amongst yourselves.
You didn't-
The
Yeah,
one, the
sorry.
town presentation. It's all right.
Phil confused me with fact. Okay.
All right. So we are, thank you very much. All right, so Charter Amendment 1. So again, a lot of these were just cleaning up language inside the charter. The Charter Commission didn't make any fundamental changes to the form of government or propose any changes to the form of government. So a lot of these are just sort of cleaning up of language. So you're going to hear a lot of that as we go through, but there are some sort of structural process things that get changed through the, or encouragement of processes that get changed in some of the paragraphs that we amended. So Article 11 is about amendments to Article 1 that really is just changes, again, language. The word time to time was in there, and we have changed it to periodically, which seemed like a more accurate thank you, right? Like that took 3 meetings. No. So any questions on that amendment? So amendment number 2 is to Article 3.3 specifically. It's about the term of office. In some places in the charter, it had the old second meeting in March date, and in other places in the charter, it had the current practice of the first Monday in April date is when new people in office will assume their office. This is just to ensure consistency across the charter and edited it to say the first Monday in April is when that would occur. Questions on that? So, Charter Amendment, or Article 13 is an amendment to Charter Amendment number 3. It amends Article 4 of the Town Charter. You see some of the summaries here. So the powers and duties of the town manager, section 4.6 was edited. 1, to get in alignment with RSA, which allows lighting and power systems also to fall under his authority, or their authority, whoever the town manager may be. And the other is an addition that was made by the Charter Commission after much debate to identify opportunities to generate non-property tax revenues and encourage economic development consistent with the master plan. Section 4.9 was edited to ensure that there was clarity around what the council's role was in department goal setting versus department head goal setting. So section 4.9 was edited to ensure that it made clearly stated that the town manager and the town council would collaboratively identify goals and objectives for the town and the town departments, and that from there will be biannual reports from those departments on their goals to the town council to update people on the status of those goals and objectives. And then also later clarifies that the town manager is the one that reviews the department heads, not the town council, and that will be required annually. Section 4.11, non-interference with town administration. This actually was edited to make sure it was clear that that non-interference with town, not only that, but non-interference with town administration is not just to ensure that it does not abrogate the town council's responsibility to direct the town manager, that the town manager works at the direction of the town council, and that administration, though, is the town manager's purview, not the purview of the town council. Questions on that? Oh, sorry, there's one more section on that one. And then section 4.15, fiscal affairs. It had said before that the treasurer investment advisor would audit, that there be reports on town revenue and expenditures periodically, and that was changed to annually. Questions on Charter Amendment 3? Excellent. So Charter Amendment 4. Charter Amendment 4 is about the ballot and budget preparation. So it clarifies, so for those of you who've been around a while, you may remember the time, I'm old enough to remember times when it was the Budget Committee and the Town Council and the Budget Committee and the school board that were sitting up here. There was a lot of dialogue amongst the Charter Commission about the role of the Budget Committee, the statutory authority of the Budget Committee. So the edits of section 5.2, the budget preparation, make it very clear that it is ultimately the Budget Committee's budget, and encouraging that the Budget Committee is the one who is owning and representing that budget when it gets submitted to the taxpayers in town meeting. Section 5.2 is about budget hearing. Just some language cleaning up around, 5.3, around special warrant articles, as well as ensuring that we recognize that the posting of budget hearings, at least one of those places has to be town hall for those postings. Section 5.4 is about use of the official ballot. So it clarifies, and you kind of saw it lean in that direction with the town's budget earlier, that the town operating budget is one thing, the capital reserve funds is another. So it was all lumped in one. I think we had dialogue at the Charter Commission about potentially it having to be separate warrant articles moving forward, should this pass, for each of the capital reserve fund deposits. Section 5.6 clarifies that monthly budget reports and 5-year forecasting, the current charter states 5-year forecasting goes to the town council. This clarifies it, or further adds to that the Budget Committee and the Town Council will receive those. And section 9.2 is around the annual town meeting to clarify that the second session involves on the voting of the operating budget and those special warrant articles of the capital reserve fund, separating the two. In alignment with statute, as the town manager said earlier. Questions on that amendment? So Charter Amendment number 5, riveting, right? Chris promised it. Charter Amendment number 5. So Charter Amendment number 5 is in reference to section 5.7, the capital improvement plan. And I got a lot to say about this one. So the capital improvement plan has historically, within this community, operated as a budgetary function. It really has just been where are we putting money in the capital reserve funds, and how do we administer impact fees. This edit to section 5.7 clarifies that the capital improvement plan will be a long-term 6-year plan about planned integrated capital improvements across departments within the town, and that regardless of what budgetary, how we will be budgeting against those capital improvements. So all capital, grant funded, capital reserve funded, it'll create a clear map of a capital improvement plan that is directly tied to the master plan's objectives. So trying to bring all of the components of the community's plans into one place, recognizing the capital improvements are an important function of how we continue to flourish as a community. It requires the town manager to report on the capital improvement plan implementation to multiple committees, both to the capital improvement plan committee, the budget committee, and the town council, so that there's monitoring as to the execution of that capital improvement plan. Questions? Article 16, Charter Amendment number 6. This is on section 1.8, citizen concerns. Basically saying that if the citizen has any concern, you can go to an elected official or the town manager with your concerns, but that they will go to the town manager with that concern unless it is something that has to do about the town manager themselves, in which case the town council will address the item. Article 17 is Charter Amendment number 7. So Charter Amendment number 7 is really talking a lot about some of the administrative, there's some administrative edits that occurred in here, vacancies, what a vacancy is deemed when someone vacates an office was clarified in section 10.3. Section 10.12, there was a reorganization plan in there. Those were removed because that was about way back when the charter was established. So we removed that and renumbered after that. Section 10.15 was about false statements and prohibiting false statements. So there were some clarifications to that language that occurred in that amendment. Questions? All right, so the final charter amendment was Charter Amendment number 8, which is Article 18 on the warrant. And this talks about town committees. So it clarifies that one member of the planning board will be a town council member. There's historically been a town council rep on the planning board, but it was not in the charter, clarifying that. We're amending the size of the budget committee. The budget committee is on the larger side of statutory requirements for a budget committee and has had, in the last several years, some challenges in getting people to sign up to run. So seeing that, we have edited the size of the budget committee from 11 down to 9. That is still higher than the statutory minimum. And it also clarifies where some of those members will come from. We also changed that the Conservation Commission will include a member of the Planning Board. Again, a lot of the work of the Charter Commission was to create integration across the boards and departments of the town. So getting a member of the Charter Commission appointed to the Planning Board, we saw as an opportunity, given how much work has happened in the Charter Commission. We increased the size of the Capital Improvement Program Committee from 6 to 7 to give it an odd number. So if there's a tie, so there can't be a tie in the votes as well. And we did that through increasing the at-large membership. We edited to ensure that the town council and the school board in the current charter are encouraged to meet once a year. It was edited to have them meet potentially more frequently, as well as, this is the one that was, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is the one that ensured that the chairs of your standing committees should get together at least annually and share their respective goals. So again, there are goals that are being set of boards across the community and departments across the community. This is encouraging them getting together at least annually to share what their goals are, to hopefully drive more collaboration between the boards and the 8 departments of the community. It specifically calls out the Capital Improvement Committee, Budget Committee, and Planning Board being invited to that meeting. And then the final one is the Town Council and the School Board, that it was encouraged in the last charter. This one again encourages them to meet at least once a year. I think the last charter said once a year. This says at least once a year. And it also says that the Capital Improvement Committee, Budget Committee, and Planning Board chairs shall be invited to designate someone to attend that meeting. So again, hopefully driving more collaboration across the community. The ultimate theme of all these amendments is that we are looking to have a more collaborative community, see ourselves as one community and not a bunch of different boards, as well as cleaning up some of the language inside of it to align ourselves with RSA. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Nazaro. I served in the charter, this is my 3rd charter commission in 30 years, I think. So the strong overall message from the Charter Commission to the community is, and this is running contrary, if I can be political for a moment, contrary to the national tide, is we want more people to be involved, we want more people to ask questions, and we think that an educated community that understands the governmental processes and how we govern ourselves is better. And so we strongly encourage people to get involved. The Budget Committee is a great way to kind of dip your toe into the water. If you understand how the budget is put together, you pretty much understand everything else, what's important to the community. This is my opinion. So we strongly encourage people to attend meetings, ask questions, pick up the phone, look at the website, gather information, and because we think an educated person in the community is a terrifically strong asset for the community. So All that being said, if there's no further business to come before the meeting, the charter amendment warrant article is not being I mean, if there's questions, obviously, are there any further questions or any questions at all about the proposed charter amendments? Seeing none, if there's no further business to come before the meeting, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Smith? Ms. Cahill? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Meeting's adjourned. See you all on March 10th. Thank you.